It's just, barely making it from sequence to sequence, just barely making it out of this thing alive.
The Gray Man is full of insane action with an incredible cast to match. It's no surprise there were a ton of great moments filming on set. We'll be talking about improvised one-liners, highly satisfying fight scenes, as well as a few on-set injuries and hilarious moments that some people wish they could reshoot.
The most straightforward delivery of both of their lines that are hilarious because it's just so on it.
Number 1. When theater meets film. When Ryan Gosling was shooting in Prague, he got to enjoy having a bit of a live audience. There's a major scene where Ana De Armas' character, Danny, saves him from a pretty close call. You'll notice that seems to be a theme in the movie.
Let's go.
I'm good.
Let's go.
It sounded like a question.
When she leads him over to the car, directly above them are a bunch of townspeople hanging out on their balconies, drinking coffee, and watching them film.
I thought they should have included them because I feel like they would have been watching this anyway.
Number 2. More like a little too much gum. After looking back at his performance, there are quite a few things Ryan Gosling would do differently if given the opportunity.
Way too much gum.
This is one of them.
This was supposed to end in me blowing a bubble, so I spent the whole scene chewing this massive piece of bubble gum.
They didn't even end up using the bubble scene.
Billy Bob's giving such a great performance. I'm just chewing the scenery.
There's also another funny moment where he's getting sprayed in the face with pepper spray.
Okay, yeah, immediately as I watch this, I would react differently to the pepper spray.
He thinks his reaction could have been a little bit stronger.
It looks like I'm getting sprayed with Avion, which is what's happening.
Number 3, or rather, getting rid of it. The cast had a great time embracing the darker, more villainous version of themselves. Specifically, Jessica Henwick and Regé-Jean Page.
It's like taking a holiday from the Britishness. Just kind of you flush all of the politeness out of your system.
He describes it as leaning into all the things you would normally never do and seeing how far that can take you.
I surprised myself when I was told to yell at Chris and they said just go as far as you can.
Jessica is unsure if that's the take that was used in the final cut, but apparently she was foaming at the mouth.
As the primary example of exactly what not to do in asset retrieval.
Number 4, the hot trunk Ryan Gosling was stuck in for 2 days.
This was fun trying to figure out how this would go down, getting hit with a dart like that.
We're definitely enjoying the use of his word fun.
It led to 2 more days being in a hot trunk in Prague, which was not as much fun.
Luckily though, Ana De Armas, saving the day yet again, was taking great care of him while in the driver's seat. Apparently, she's a great driver and he felt very safe back there, aside from the sweltering heat.
What gives you the impression that they care what I think?
This is my career, you understand?
Number 5, the incredible Julia Butters is already making history. She's worked with so many legends in the industry, from the Russo Brothers to Steven Spielberg.
And I said, I've been wanting to work with Julia Butters since I was a teenager.
My favorite answer to anything ever.
We're with you, Billy Bob. The improvised moment comes into play when they're actually on a close-up of Chris. Julia had already shot her close-up scene.
I was about to turn and leave, and I turned back and I said, kick his ass.
Normally, she would never go off script like that.
And they said, all right, we're going to do your close-up again because we really liked that. And I was so excited.
Number 6, and all the reshoots that came with it.
Oh, I wish it would have been a question.
The cast spent months training for all of the major action sequences. Some got the hang of it faster than others.
But this was extreme. I think by most action movie standards, this is extreme.
By most action movie standards, the number of action sequences they had to film was pretty insane. The Gray Man has 9 action set pieces, and typical action movies usually only have around half of that.
We gonna do this or not?
Number 7, the man who's done 50 films gets to be green for a second. The actor Dhanush, who plays the assassin Avik San, is a major player in the Indian film industry. He's been working for over 22 years. One thing he loved about working on The Gray Man was that he got to be the new guy again. In an interview with Hindustan Times, he talks a little bit about what that felt like. You often don't get the chance to feel like a newcomer. The first time, it all happens in a blur. You don't realize what's happening.
It's a dream role for any actor.
Number 8, speaking of Dhanush, let's get into Ryan Gosling's actual favorite scene. Interestingly enough, Ryan only got 1 scene with Dhanush, the hospital fight, which was definitely one of the more dangerous fight sequences in the film.
The hospital scene, because it almost put Danush in the hospital. It was an honor to work with him.
Though they only got one scene together, they definitely became fast friends.
On screen and off screen, it's amazing, and I had a great experience.
Number 9. In a movie like this, there's gotta be a few on-set injuries. One particular we'd like to take note of was on the very first day of filming. Chris Evans shared a little behind-the-scenes mishap on his Instagram story. My first day of filming, I accidentally hit Ryan in the face with the gun. Chris talks a bit more about it in an interview on Fandom Wire. There was a scene where I had to slam him against a wall, but I'm holding a gun. So as I'm grabbing his collar, the barrel of the gun just kind of whacked him right in the mouth. We sympathize with you on those first day of work jitters, Chris. Number 10, which also doubles as a metaphor for Ryan Gosling's filming experience. When talking about some of the most difficult stunts he had to do, Ryan definitely refers back to the scene where he's running on top of a train when all the cars are falling out beneath him.
Do you always have to be suspicious of what they leave for the end of shooting?
We definitely don't blame you for being suspicious.
Like set piece after set piece, action sequence after action sequence, just barely getting out of it unscathed.
Ryan actually wondered if the Russo brothers thought this was going to be the last thing he shot, ever. And in turn, saved it for the very end. Number 11, most definitely a highlight of anyone's workday. When Chris Evans got cast for the film, he was pretty intimidated to work with Ryan Gosling, but overall found it to be a major highlight of being on set.
He's a very centered person. I think that's the origin of why he's such a good actor.
Chris describes Ryan as being unbothered and sort of looked to him as a leader throughout the film.
Just kind of say, hey, listen, I got great people around me. I'm just going to let them shine and try and not make a mess.
Number 12, Julia Butters gets to push her limits in this one. One thing she really liked about this film was finding her ability to channel the intense, emotional aspects of herself.
Filming the fountain sequence I'm going to list that one as my number 1 favorite.
They filmed that soaking wet scene for a full week straight. As a young, talented actor, Julia loves to challenge herself.
I don't even think that's real at all. Like, sometimes I just don't even understand what's going on.
Number 13 also proved to be the most difficult. The Russo brothers prepped it for about a year, and it took about 6 weeks to shoot. The way the Russo brothers like to bring scenes like this to life is shoot some action scenes for a few days, go into a room, check out what they shot, come up with new ideas, rinse, repeat. Something that the cast found difficult about this was after they'd spent 2 months learning this choreography, the Russo brothers would come up with something completely new to throw in. One moment in this sequence that was actually pretty funny took place when Ryan Gosling was chained to a bench. When everything was exploding and all this action was taking place, his cell phone started to ring. His wife, who was in a hotel nearby with the kids, was on the line.
Would you respond or would you just run away?
I would call security.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense.
After all of these insane action sequences, brilliant comedic moments, and behind-the-scenes mishaps, it's hard not to be impressed by the cast and crew of The Gray Man. What was your favorite part of the film? Let us know in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe to The Things.